friends, hello and welcome back. Today we are going to talk winning face-offs. Now, we're not going to go down the complete basic tutorial of grips and everything, but we're going to go down more of the psychological, the 101, the mano-a-mano side of things when it comes to winning face-offs. This is personally, I love face-off. I am an absolute face-off nerd. If you play this game with me, I've always told people it's like, if I could play defense and take the draws, I'd be in love. I love the idea of possession, and I love the idea of stopping other teams. And it's like the face-off thing. It's like, let's tangle a little bit here. You know, there's no copy dependence. It's me versus you in the dot. I love it. And so far this year, it's been pretty solid. And I think we're around like 71% or so right now. So we're doing all right. I love it though. So I think our biggest thing, obviously, if you're new to the game, learning it is grip wise, you want to hold backhand. So if you're a left-handed shooter, you'd be taking a right stick, pushing it to the right when holding your grip. You're right-handed, you'd hold it to the left, obviously. And the reason you go backhand versus the forehand when you're setting in the face-off circle is because you got to play the numbers, you got to play the percentages here. And backhand will beat more forehand draws. So let's say if you go backhand stick lift, a backhand stick lift is going to beat everything a forehand can do minus the forehand stick lift. It's going to beat the forehand type. It's going to beat the forehand regular win. And then you have the backhand, which obviously beats the forehand. And the backhand, it's going to beat the stick lift for the forehand as well. The tie-up's the one thing that you're kind of tied up against. Pun intended. I'm funny. I cracked me up. Not really. The tie-up's the one thing that kind of ties you against the wall, though, because the tie-up's only going to beat, well, really nothing. It's going to beat the tie-up and the tie-up only when a guy goes forehand. So that's just something you can keep in mind, though. It's like, okay, we're not going to win anything with this tie-up. So really, it kind of helps you narrow down what you need to do. You're either going to go forehand or you're going to go straight back, or you're going to go stick lift when you're going backhand. But that comes out to what, about 5 of 9? Is that right? 5 of 9 on the draw. So the percentages go towards the backhand as far as what favors which hand. So you go backhand. That's why I see most people go backhand. And then from there, it really becomes a mind game. It really does. I try to stress to people, as somebody's going forehand, always try to understand when they're going forehand. If they start the game going forehand, I'm just going to go immediately backhand and just assume they're not going to tie me up, and the backhand straight back is going to win everything minus the tie up. So I'm going to go backhand if they go forehand. That's important, just basic backhand. But from there on, though, it becomes, if you're both going backhand, it's a mind game. I like to tie people up. I try to be inconsistent with it because people have tendencies. You'll learn a lot of people like to tie guys up in their the defensive zone and in the offensive zone. That's favorite spots for them. Or not the offensive zone, in their defensive zone, your offensive zone. Because then your defenseman can come up, grab the puck, and straight line up the ice. People like making plays off of that. People like doing the same thing in sixes. It depends on the mode you're playing. Threes, not so much. Sixes, they like tying up in the offensive zone because they like to do the tie up and they like to throw a cross crease. So you watch out for stuff like that. Understand people have a lot of tendencies to repeat stuff like that. A lot of the times, I'll give them one chance. If they're in, the one chance, and if they tie me up first try, it's like immediately next time around, I'm going backhand, or not backhand, I'm going stick lift. A lot of the times, personally, we're talking about it. I like to tie up in the defensive zone in threes, not so much in sixes, but in threes. I mean, it even works in sixes if you play the odds, because you want to try to win the draw. And if the other person's going to tie you up, that means your backhand's going to do nothing. Your stick lift would be effective, but if you stick lift them, you're only countering one move, and that's if they tie you up. So your odds are winning that face-off essentially are 33% compared to if you tie them up at 66%, right? So I do like the idea of the tie. Well, it's more or less 50% because you can both tie them up. But I like that better because at least you're both coming in the draw. You both know what's happening there, and you have a chance to get the puck out of the zone. And it's something, again, to keep in mind. So I like doing that until you learn the tendency. It's so important. And that's why I love it. I love face-offs because it's a tendency thing. So many people have different tendencies on the ice, and it's a matter of who remembers that stuff, who counters, and who understands the proper counters. And I love it. I love the strategy behind the face-offs. Personally, one of my golden rules is if you're winning draws, if you do something twice in a row, you have to keep in mind, it's important. I can tell you how to win face-offs, you still have to execute it, kind of thing. Like, it's not just, there's not a tell-all code. What I like to do is when I'm taking draws, this is a personal thing, do as you please. If I win face-offs the same way 2 times in a row, let's say I tie him up at center ice twice in a row, or I tie him up in a defensive zone twice in a row, or I backhand here, or backhand there, I try never to do it 3 times in a row. Because the first time you beat them, all right, whatever. Second time you beat them, then it's in their mind. They're thinking, okay, he's always tying me up here. So the third time comes around, it's like, all right, it's in their mind. We tie him up. So what are they going to do? They're going to try to stick lift. So what we're going to do to counter what they're thinking about doing is we're going to win it back. We're just going to straight back in the backhand. It's the little nuances like that that I find are so, so important. And it's the same thing where some people, you got to learn their strategies. We do that. Other people will say, I'm going to keep doing the same thing until they beat me or until they stop me. And that's not a bad idea either, because some people don't have their face-off ratings as higher. Some people, and that's a problem too, especially if you're playing HUD or if you're playing ESHL and you have higher face-off rating players than them, and they're not going to do anything but go backhand all game, then no reason to change it up. If they're going to let you dominate them in a dot, let them dominate, go ahead and do it. It's just a back and forth balancing effect to understand what they're going to do. Other people, they'll switch it up a lot. And personally, I think it depends who you're playing. You can usually tell when you're playing a game if somebody's really good or kind of mediocre. They don't know what they're doing, especially in a dot if they flinch a lot and stuff. And it's one of those things where it's like, all right, if this person doesn't seem as good at the game, I'm just going to continue to do what's working. I ain't going to mix it up as much. I'll just keep doing it over and over until they beat me. And then when they beat me, I'll counter them. And then we'll go right down the same road. And that's often the games where you see the face-off draws really skewed, like 15-3 in your favor, when you just wait and wait because they can't find the counter. It's like, all right, if they can't beat you, they can't beat you. But when you're playing somebody a little bit more skilled, you're going into a game, somebody a little bit more talented, whether that be you're a higher division in HUT, or maybe you're playing somebody that's prestige 1, 2, whatever, and World of Chance, like, all right, this person knows how to win this face-offs. I'm trying to get in their head as quickly as possible. I don't even want to give them the chance to go out there and beat me. I'm not going to do the same thing over and over, because then I feel like I'm giving them control. I'm going to say, all right, we're going to do this twice. They're frustrated a little bit. Let's switch it up. They're like, dang, I thought I had them beat. And all of a sudden, it starts to get in their mind. You just continue to switch things up throughout the game. They're frustrated, they're worried, they start flinching a little bit, and all of a sudden you just take control of the dot. So that's personally the way I like to do things. Hopefully this video is helpful to you guys. Again, I know there's typically like tutorials and stuff in the main menus and everything, how to win the face-offs and everything. I mean, if you want the real basic thing, it's like, all right, hold the stick to the right and then curl it down to win a draw, kind of backhand, or curl it up to win stick lift. But I really wanted to dig into, because I think a lot of once people pick that up, it's like there's more to it than that. So I really wanted to dig into the psychological, the strategic side of things as far as face-offs are concerned. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, I'd appreciate you consider liking and subscribing. You never have to. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.